I know how to speak Spanish for the ladies. Hola, ¿cómo está? My name is Isaiah. Me llamo, you right? Me llamo, amigo. My name is Isaias. For the señoritas out there, hit my way. Y'all know where I'm at. Just for a late night drive, just relaxing. And on the way back off the 309, I'm driving. And it's crazy too. This is actually something y'all don't know. This is actually something only my uncle knows, Uncle Jared. I actually had, correct me if I don't know how to pronounce this word, but a reminisce of the car accident before I actually had the car accident.
Get the anointing, you have to go through stuff. And that is how God is going to be able to use not only us, but as encouraging our viewers, that you're going through tests and trials to help someone else get through. There's a saying that what you go through is not for you, it's for someone else.
I love you guys. You have done a magnificent job. And see where God is taking y'all. Thank everybody to another episode of the Johnson 5 Talk Show. We are live and back once again. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in and watching us. I hope that you watched last Sunday's podcast because we had Testimonial Sunday. Again, that's something that we are trying to do new, to hear our testimonies so that way you can hear some of the things that we went through and some of the experiences that we have encountered. Also, we are going to be having a day in the life, and so we have that coming up soon. So be on the lookout for that. Again, make sure you're following us on Instagram at Johnson5_Talk_show and on Facebook at the Johnson 5 Talk Show. And make sure you are subscribed to our channel at the Johnson 5 Talk Show. Well, let's get right into it. First, a word from our sponsor.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Of course, we want to thank CLA Tribe, the CLA Tribe, and Jose Escobar, CEO, for sponsoring this video. We appreciate you for being a sponsor to the Johnson 5 Talk Show. Again, this is a great business and entrepreneurship opportunity for you if you are in need or looking for a group to connect with or network with. You definitely want to be a part of the CLA Tribe. Without further ado, we are going to get into our topic for tonight, which is part 2 of relationships. If you missed 2 weeks ago, we talked about relationships, and we was talking about the difference between the older generation and the new generation. And so we're going to make this a part 2. And so one of the questions that we had, or one of the statements that we had was, and I thought it was very profound, and this is where our topic is going to be at, is one of the young people, well, Solomon's girlfriend, said, we was talking about the older generation versus the younger generation, and some of the older generation, before they came to Christ, they did some things, right? We were all sinners, and we still are sinners before we came to Christ, and we still sin every now and then, even though we are saved. And so one of the things she said is, why is it that the older generation got the opportunity to sin and not have to worry about it before you came to Christ, and now that you're in Christ, why are you telling us not to sin when you got the chance to experience that sin? I'm not sure if that makes sense, but hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. And so we're going to dive into this topic because I think it's very interesting. It's very provocative, thought provocative, and it's very a profound statement. And so we're going to start it off with Solomon here with the sunglasses, even though it's nighttime. So
I got to say that we got it. We got it. No, I'm playing. It's great to be back. My eyes is a little sensitive, so please excuse my glasses. Praise be unto God, but I'm excited to be back. I think this topic is, first of all, your question didn't make no sense at all. Secondly, I understood it, so I guess it did make some type of sense. But I know where it's going, and in all honesty, I think that is a profound statement. I think because what she's trying to say, and I can back her up, what she's trying to say is that it's not fair that they made those choices when we want to make the same choices, but we can't because they're saying that that's wrong. And it is a profound statement. However, we have to look at it from both sides. And the flip side of that coin is that they lived that life. They have that experience. It's like when you go to school, you're going to school for a reason. You're going to school to get a degree. And I'm talking as far as college. Of course, in high school, you get your high school diploma. But as far as college, you go for 4 years to get a degree in the major that you're majoring in, right? So when somebody else goes to college, you're able to give them that experience and give them that knowledge. Hey, this is what I think you should do because this is what I did and it failed. So I think you should do this because you're going to succeed. It's not that it's not necessarily fair, but it's because they have more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. They have that experience to tell you, hey, if you do this, you're not going to succeed. Also, can attest to and do believe that with life comes experience and comes your own experience. So I do believe in gaining experience when it comes to certain things in certain areas of life. I do believe that 100%. But then again, I do believe that God gives others wisdom. God gives others knowledge. God gives others understanding on not just the biblical aspect, but on life in general to tell us how the way to live it so that we can be successful in doing that.
all right, that was a great statement. And so I have to ask you this, Salome, kind of just to kind of play devil advocate here. And so I hear what you're saying and I understand what you're saying, but what would you say to somebody who's in that mindset like, well, the old generation is still in their quote unquote old ways?
It's funny that you bring that up because I was listening to a Zoom. I'm not going to expose anything like that, but I was listening to a Zoom, and one of the ministers was saying, which I thought was hilarious, how that the saints of God nowadays disobey their leaders. And she was talking about how she told everybody to put their cameras on. And she counted who had their cameras on and who didn't. And she was just saying, y'all just being disobedient. And I just thought that was hilarious. I understood where she was going with that. But the flip side to that is, you know, people were busy and stuff like that. So I just thought that was hilarious. And I bring that up because, you know, a lot of people, and not just in church, you know, I don't want to put it specifically in church, but a lot of people in the older generations are stuck to their ways. You know, I'm dealing with Coach now, Coach Driscoll. Shout out to Coach Driscoll, Golden Bears. My mentor, my coach, my mentor, father figure to me, love him to death, but he's stuck in his old ways of doing things that he used to do 20 years ago. And he believes that if it still works, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But however, this is a new generation. And so I believe that the old ways still work, but what's going on is that, and you can attest to this too, Anthony, and I believe you can attest to this too, because this is in life too. But how I see it is that in basketball, this generation is soft. Okay, I am the student manager of the basketball team. And when I say this generation is soft, this generation is soft. They cannot take correction. First of all, they do not want to take correction. They think that their way is the best way and there is no other way to succeed. And if all else fails, they believe that they know everything whatsoever. So, with that kind of mindset, there is no change. I believe on the flip side, again, there's always a flip side. On the flip side, there are those people that believe that their system is the best system. And if you can't do what they want you to do according to how they want you to do it, then they may curse you out, or they may say, oh, you're not fit for this program, or you're not fit to do this and you're not fit to do that. So I think it's two sides of the story. But I do believe that the problem is that this generation, honestly, is just, we're soft. You know, this generation is really soft. They don't want to take correction. They don't know how to take correction, and they think that their way is the right way. So there can't be change. So when it is that an older person, or from our aspect, from our young person's aspect, from a young person's aspect, we may say that, oh, these people are stuck in their ways. However, you have to also come to the conclusion that their ways have worked. It may have to be fixed a little, it may have to be changed, but their ways work.
I think, to go back to the question, first of all, I think we have choices. So, if Ziani wanted to experience the world, she could. There's no one forcing you not to. They're just telling you not to. And I think that we, as the younger generation, have to understand that, like Solomon said, they have experienced it, and so now they are trying to give us advice on what to avoid to happen. And if we're going to talk about relationships, I'll give an example. Grandpa, on some of my relationships, he would give me certain advice. And from my experience, I heard the advice, but I didn't necessarily take the advice. And so because of that, I experienced things that I could have avoided if I would have listened. And so when especially when we're talking about sin, are you going to, sin is a temporary satisfaction for your flesh. And what the older generation is trying to explain is that I've had temporary satisfaction, but at the end of the day, it did not satisfy me. It did not help me. It did not get me through. They have experienced what they want us to avoid. And so when they give us advice or tell us not to do things, tell us not to do this, to do that, this is a sin, avoid this. They are trying to prevent us from experiencing what they experience. Now, again, we have the choice and we have the option to either listen or not to listen. But if we do not listen, you have to accept the consequences that comes with your actions. And I think that oftentimes when we don't listen, we try to blame everything around us. But at the end of the day, you decided to do and go out and experience, and no one is judging you, but you have to own the consequences of your actions.
Well, that's powerful. And what you said, is we have choices, which I think is very important. We do have choices, but as you said, Big Bro, we have to own up to the consequences of each choice that we choose. Real quick, we do have a DM on Facebook about a question. And so
before we continue, I just want to say something. Just to play, like Sam played the devil's advocate on me. I want to play the devil's advocate on Anthony, because you said we have a choice, and me and Siani talk about this all the time. And I'm actually trying to find, you know, the answer to it myself as well. And with choices, when you honor and reverence somebody, let's take for example, as the Bible says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, for this is the first commandment with promise, and it goes on and on. So when you honor somebody, let's take for example, you honor your parents. When they tell you to do something, or they tell you, hey, or they give you a piece of advice, they say, I think, Anthony, you should do this instead of doing that. Or, Anthony, you need to do this instead of doing that because this is what's going to give you the route. Do you, in that moment, do you believe that you have a choice? Now, yes, in reference, realistically, yeah, we do have a choice. But let's take, for example, that you honor and reverence that person. Do you believe that you have a choice, or because you listen to their advice, if this question makes sense, you're going to listen to their advice and feel like you don't have a choice, like you're forced to do it, if that makes sense?
Yes, it does make sense. I think that if you honor and respect someone, you won't feel forced to take their advice. Because if you honor and respect someone, that means that you value what they say. And so when you value what someone says, then you're going to take that into consideration and say, you know, I believe, you're basically saying, I believe that this person is not going to steer me wrong. So when you listen, it's still out of choice because you are still believing that this is the right decision for me because I believe that this person is not going to steer me wrong. So it is a choice. Now, when we say forcing, I believe if you allow their mind to be your mind, I believe that is forcing, if that makes sense. Because we still have our own minds, and as we grow, we become adults. And so sometimes, you know, even with our parents, our mindset is not going to be their mindset. What they think is right, we may think is not right for us. So that does, if we go against what they say or their advice, that doesn't mean that we're dishonoring them. That just means that I have, you know, my own opinion and you have yours. But we still have respect for one another. I still honor you. That doesn't mean that, you know, I have to listen all the time. That's not what honor is. I think honor is even respecting them when you disagree, because you're not always going to agree. And if you feel forced, then that means that you actually disagree with them, but you are, I guess, afraid of their disapproval of your disagreement with them. So if you feel forced, then in the back of your mind, you actually don't believe what they're saying. Because if you believe what they're saying, you will willingly listen to them. It won't be a forceful thing.
That's awesome. Real quick, we do have a Facebook DM of a question. And so we want to get to this real quick before we get ready to get out of here. And the question was on the verb of what you was just asking. We have a guy here who said that he is in a relationship. He's in a relationship. He's been in a relationship for 3 years now, and he is getting pressured by his mother and grandmother because they don't like this girl. His grandmother and his mother are both Christians. And so the girl that he's with is a non-believer. She is in the world. And then he himself is a believer. What he's struggling with is trying to speak his mind, basically. He's trying to tell his mom and tell his grandmom, look, this is the girl that I want to be with. This is the decision that I made. And so he's asking us, how does he approach that situation? He's in a tough situation because he doesn't want to affect his relationship with his mom and his grandmom by approaching them with this. But at the same time, his girlfriend has come to him numerous times and say, look, I feel disrespected because they keep talking about me. And so what type of advice do you give this person? Right? What would you say to help his situation out?
I think you have to go to them with respect. I think that sometimes the older generation still views us as children, and doesn't really understand that we have our own mind, we have our own opinions, and like I said earlier, that doesn't mean that I'm going to disrespect you, but I am still my own man. So I think if you approach it that way, and approach it, of course, with love and respect, you just explain that, I am my own man. And you don't have to agree with my decision, but you have to respect my decision. And there is a difference. You don't have to agree. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like her, and obviously you say this in a respectful way, but you just ask for them to respect your decision. And if they love you and they care about you, they will respect your decision.
Yeah, I agree with
2 seconds. 1, 2. All right. Thank you, everybody.
You're funny. I agree with Anthony and what he said. I struggle with the same thing, not as far as relationship, but different things. When somebody tells me to do something, I usually feel pressured to do it, and I don't speak my mind. But I think, as Anthony said, you just have to be honest and genuine about it. Hey, look, mom. Hey, look, grandma. I love you guys, but I'm becoming my own man. This is the woman that I feel like is right for me at this moment, and I wish that you would just respect my decision with how I want to go about things. Like Anthony said, you don't have to like it, but if you love me, I would appreciate you to just respect my decision. So
I would say there are a lot of people that are always going to comment on your relationships. Me and Solomon experience this. I'm sure Big Bro, you experience it. A lot of people try to shed light and try to speak their voice and opinion over you. But the only voice and opinion that really matters is God's. And so seek God's advice. I would say pray about it, see what God has to say about it, and then approach them in a timely manner. The Bible says there's a time and a season for everything. And so you don't want to approach them at a bad time, right? You always want the perfect timing. And so the way you get the perfect timing is because God is going to give it to you. And so seek him first and then hear from him and then approach your family, as always, as Big Bro said and Solomon said, with respect. Guys, again, thank you guys so much for watching and supporting the Johnson 5. If you want merch, go and get your merch. Get your merch today. DM us. Of course, if you guys have questions, instead of putting them in the comment section, DM us, just like this person did. He DM'd us. He sent us a question. And so, guys, that's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start answering more questions. So DM us your question for next time, so that way we can talk about it. Make sure you are following us on Instagram at Johnson5_talk_show. Make sure you are following us on Facebook at Johnson5 Talk Show. And make sure you are subscribed to our channel at the Johnson 5 Talk Show. Next Sunday, we will hear a testimony by none other than Solomon. If you missed my testimony, you can go ahead and watch it on YouTube. It is on YouTube. Next Sunday, please be here at 6 p.m. because we will hear a testimony from Solomon Johnson. Again, guys, we appreciate you so much and we love you. And make sure you are following us for more information. Have a good